I'm starting to think we're never actually going to figure out who the best teams are this year because week 6 just saw more insane upsets and overall crazy games. After a bit of a rough stretch, I bounced back with an 11-4 record last week, bringing my total record on the season to 59, 33, and 1. In this video, I'll be predicting every week 7 game with score predictions. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Subscribe takes just a second and it really helps me out. Thank you, and let's get started. Los Angeles Rams versus Jacksonville Jaguars. Finally, an international game that might actually be worth waking up early for. The Rams beat the Ravens last week on the backs of a phenomenal defensive performance, holding the Baltimore offense to just 3 points. Although, to be fair, a middle school flag football team could hold that offense to under double digits. However, they did take a massive hit to their own offense, as Puka Nacua won't be playing in this one, which is great news for Jacksonville, who had a good defensive performance against Seattle last week. However, they did lose that game as they weren't really able to get much going on offense. The Jags are more familiar with international travel than any other team, and I think they get the win 28-24. Not having Puka could really mess up this Rams offense, and I think Jacksonville has the personnel to get the job done. New Orleans Saints versus Chicago Bears. Well, Chicago, congratulations. Not only did you beat the Commanders, but you didn't give up a Hail Mary at the end like last year. Seriously though, the Bears played really well, and DeAndre Swift of all people had a great game. The Saints lost once again, no shocker, but like they have pretty much all season, they kept the score close. I don't need to spend too much time on this game. I'm taking Chicago 24-20. They're the better team all around, and while we'll probably be somewhat close, I think the Bears can pull this one off. Miami Dolphins versus Cleveland Browns. What the hell is this game? Both of these teams have monumental problems that I don't really know how to fix. The Browns lost to the Steelers last week, and they decided to make Dylan Gabriel in his second ever start throw the ball 52 times against the Steelers defense. No wonder things didn't go well. The Dolphins seemingly had a win locked up against the Chargers before forgetting how to tackle and losing at the very end. Tua played like ass, and the Dolphins really need to follow in the Titans' footsteps and fire Mike McDaniel. This is the first lefty QB matchup since 2006, and if I could pick both teams to lose, I would, but I'll take Miami to get an ugly 20-19 win. If they can get Devon Achane going and not make Dylan Gabriel look like prime Steve Young, then they should be able to get this win. New England Patriots versus Tennessee Titans. After a miracle win last week, the Titans went right back to sucking ass, losing terribly to the Las Vegas Raiders. Cam Ward hasn't been getting better, and his supporting cast, specifically his O-line, really isn't helping him out. The Patriots got their 3rd straight win last week over the Saints, and Drake May continues to play like an elite quarterback. The Patriots are actually leading the AFC East now, which is insane to think about, and I think they stay in first place with a 30-16 win. I haven't even mentioned it yet, but this is a Mike Vrabel revenge game, and there's no way he's losing to his old team. Philadelphia Eagles versus Minnesota Vikings. Are the Eagles just bad now? I mean, losing to the Broncos is one thing, they're a good team, but the Giants? Seriously? Kevin Patullo continues to call a high school offense, and Jalen Hurts isn't playing good football. Maybe this is just a little slump they're in, but they need to figure things out quick. The Vikings were on bye last week, which was huge because they're getting a ton of people back from injury, including Billy Cashman, Brian O'Neill, and Donovan Jackson. This is also a Carson Wentz revenge game, which will be very interesting. I'm gonna make a bit of a bold prediction here. I think the Vikings upset the Eagles 20-17. It won't be pretty, but I really don't like the Eagles offense against a Brian Flores defense. And as long as the Vikings don't turn it over and feed Justin Jefferson, they could legitimately win this game. Carolina Panthers versus New York Jets. I just want to take one moment and say congratulations to you. Yes, you, the person watching this video. Congratulations on having more passing yards than the New York Jets did last week. Yep, that's right. The Jets finished with -10 passing yards last Sunday, which is absolutely diabolical. The NFL wants other countries to get interested in football, so why are we forcing them to watch this offense play? We're gonna push them away from the game. The Panthers got a massive win over the Cowboys last week. Rico Dowdle had another 200+ yard game, and Bryce Young looked really good. This is a no-brainer. Give me the Panthers 33-14. I don't even think I need to defend this one. I doubt there's a single person predicting the Jets to win this game. Okay, guys, stop trying to be different. Las Vegas Raiders versus Kansas City Chiefs. All it took for the Raiders to finally get a win was playing against the Tennessee Titans. That's honestly kind of depressing. And of course, Geno still had a bad turnover, but hey, at least the Raiders got back in the win column. So did the Chiefs, who had a great win over the Lions. Patrick Mahomes played really well, and their defense was locked down in the second half. Plus, the Chiefs are getting Rashee Rice back from suspension this week. Give me Kansas City 31-17. This offense should be really good with all their weapons returning, and I just don't see how the Raiders keep up. New York Giants versus Denver Broncos. Well, benching Russ for Jackson Dart has proved to be the right decision because he, along with the CTE king himself, Cam Scatabo, just buried the Eagles into the dirt. 5 total touchdowns between the two of them is insane. The Giants really found their new franchise cornerstones. Let's just hope they can remember their names by the end of their careers. The Broncos got a win over the Jets in what was probably the worst football game since 3-0. They got 9 sacks on Justin Fields, and the only touchdown was scored by third-string tight end Nate Atkins. Look, it's really tempting to pick the Giants here, but I am going to go with Denver 23-20. Denver's defense is by far the best the Giants have faced this season, and I do think Dart has some rookie moments that ultimately cost them this win. Indianapolis Colts versus Los Angeles Chargers. Both of these teams won last week in games that were way closer than they should have been. The Chargers beat the Dolphins thanks to some last-minute heroics by Justin Herbert, and the Colts nearly got beat by Jacoby Brissett, but luckily Daniel Jones is him. The Colts are still the 1 seed in the AFC and are now the only AFC team with just 1 loss, which is absolutely insane, but here we are. And I think that continues this week because I have the Colts winning 30-24. Indy just hasn't given me a single reason to bet against them. They could legitimately be undefeated right now if it wasn't for Adonai Mitchell, and I think they continue their surprise Super Bowl campaign. Washington Commanders versus Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are the weirdest team. They have yet to win or lose multiple times in a row and are coming off a loss to the Carolina Panthers. Jerry Jones said he traded away Micah Parsons to help the run defense, but Rico Dowdle carved them up like butter on the ground, and every week the Cowboys are looking more and more like this year's Bengals. Amazing offense, no defense. The Commanders are coming off a tough loss to the Bears. They had it won, but they fumbled at the very end and it allowed a game-winning field goal. But Jaden Daniels played really well overall, and honestly, I don't really think any less of the Commanders. They just made a mistake at the wrong time. I think Washington bounces back on the road in a thrilling 33-31 victory. The Cowboys defense is the worst in the NFL, and even without Terry McLaurin, I think the Commanders put on a show. Green Bay Packers versus Arizona Cardinals. Props to the Cardinals. They kept it really close against a great Colts team, and Jacoby Brissett played really well. The offense under him honestly looked better than it had all season under Kyler. Brissett will probably play again, but I think he can manage this offense well. However, they are going against the Packers, who got a nice win over the Bengals. The score was probably a little closer than you would have liked, but considering how the Bengals looked on Thursday, maybe that's not so surprising. I'm taking Green Bay 31-21. While I do think the Cardinals offense can do some good stuff, I just don't trust their defense to stop the Packers offense. Atlanta Falcons versus San Francisco 49ers. I honestly feel so bad for the 49ers. Injuries just can't get out of this team's way. And last week, they had their worst one yet. Fred Warner out for the season. Warner was almost single-handedly keeping this defense afloat, and without him, I'm really worried they could regress into one of the worst units in the league. Bijan Robinson might legitimately rush for 200 yards. Speaking of Bijan, yeah, he's the best running back in the league. He absolutely destroyed the Bills last week and is currently on pace to finish with 2,800 scrimmage yards, which would break the single season record by nearly 300 yards. The Falcons have looked great ever since that embarrassing shutout by the Panthers, and I think they get another win here 27-20. Like I said, I think Fred Warner's absence really hurts this defense, and they just won't be able to keep up on offense. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Detroit Lions. God damn it, Baker Mayfield is good at football. Emeka Egbuka went down last week, bringing the Bucs down to their number 4, number 5, and number 6 receivers, and Mayfield still managed to will his team to victory. He is the MVP right now, and what he's doing with all these offensive injuries is nothing short of insane. Mike Evans is returning this week though, which is huge, so at least the Bucs will have one healthy receiver. The Lions lost a rough one last week to the Chiefs. They just couldn't really get anything going in the second half offensively, and Patrick Mahomes just Mahomed all over the place. Plus, Brian Branch is out for this game after getting suspended for punching Juju Smith-Schuster. Look, pretty much everything is in the Lions' favor. They're at home, the Bucs are still injured, and the Lions are the better team on paper, but I just can't go against Baker Mayfield right now. I think the Bucs win 34-31. Never underestimate the power of, well, willpower, and the Bucs have that more than anyone else. Houston Texans versus Seattle Seahawks. If it wasn't for Bijan Robinson and Jonathan Taylor doing ridiculous things for their respective teams, we would be talking more about Jackson Smith-Njigba as an Offensive Player of the Year candidate. He's on pace for 1,972 yards, and the connection he and Sam Darnold have built up is nothing short of special. They do have their toughest test yet, however, the Texans defense, who were on bye last week but thoroughly dominated the Ravens in week 5. Their offense also had its best day yet, putting up 44 points. This should be another great game, but I'm taking the Seahawks 24-23. Nobody's proven they can stop the Jarnell JSN connection, and until someone does it, I'm not going to pick against them. But that's it. Those are my Week 7 NFL predictions. Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? Comment below. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop a like and subscribe if you're new, and that's it for me. See ya!